But let's move into our top 10, and we are going to do it like we've been doing it for the past 3 episodes.
You remembered this time.
Yeah, I did. I made a note to myself to go through it, especially because of the way that the top 10 ended up working out.
You want to make sure everybody knows, everybody pay.
Pretty much. Ricky, take us through your top 10.
Well, starting off at number 10 in Blake, I'm going to actually ask you, Dave, lean back a little bit so they can see my gorgeous mug here, because last time you were all in my grill last week. But at number 10, we got Blake Griffin of the Detroit Pistons. Then we have Aaron Gordon of the Orlando Magic. Then at number 8, LaMarcus Aldridge of the Spurs. 7, Dirkalicious Definitions makes the coaches go loco at number 7. Then Lauri Markkanen of my Chicago Bulls. Then number 5, Gordon Hayward, hopefully coming back healthy for the Boston Celtics. K-Love of the Cavs. Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Bucks. Draymond Green of the Warriors. And then LeBron James, L.A. Bron James of the Lakers.
There was one comment that says we give players horrible nicknames, and I agree with them now. Dave, take us through your top 10.
All right. My top 10. At number 10, I've got Dario. I think he is top 10 talent. I'm just going to toss that out there. Like, 76ers don't get enough love on the show. Jake, my boy, shout out. Number 2 of the show. Number 9, Aaron Gordon. 8, Tobias Harris. 7, Blake Griffin. 6, probably a little low, is Draymond Green. 5, Gordon Hayward. 4, Kevin Love. 3, LaMarcus Aldridge. 2, Giannis. And 1, LeBron James.
All right. In my top 10, also Dario Saric. Shout out, Jake. Hey. At 9, we have Paul Millsap of the Denver Nuggets. At 8, we have Aaron Gordon of the Orlando Magic. 7, Gordon Hayward of the Celtics. 6, Blake Griffin of the Detroit Pistons. 5, LaMarcus Aldridge of the Spurs. 4, my boy K-Love of the Cleveland Cavaliers. 3, Draymond Green of the Warriors. Giannis of the Bucks. And LeBron James now of the Lakers, which adds up for our top 10 of being Paul Millsap at 10 of the Denver Nuggets. 9, Markkanen of the Bulls. 8, Aaron Gordon of the Magic. 7, Blake Griffin of the Pistons. 6, Gordon Hayward of the Celtics. 5, LaMarcus Aldridge of the Spurs. 4, Kevin Love of the Cavs. 3, Draymond Green of the Warriors. 2, Giannis of the Bucks. And 1, LeBron James. And real quick, just want to go through a couple notes and then we'll throw everything out. LeBron is a power forward in our rankings. Some people were upset that he wasn't a 3. Well, we can't have both Brandon Ingram and LeBron James as small forwards. So LeBron ends up coming here, even though he would be number 1 at the small forward. Also, Gordon Hayward, yes, he could play small forward. He could probably play the 2. They have switchability for the Celtics. Doesn't matter where they play.
Any of them.
We would be saying the same things about him, whether he was playing the 4, the 2, or the 3. And finally, it was that's it. Yeah, that's about it. Let's jump into the Draymond Green discussion, because Dave, you had him at 6. Yeah. Ricky, you had him at 2.
Well, Dave just hates him.
Above Giannis, and I had him at 3. Dave, why did you have him so low? Because, again, he was a top 3 player for us.
Yeah, I understand he's a top 3 player for you guys, and
he was a top 3 player for you last year, too.
Dave's just holding grudges.
I mean, he did kick a man in the nuts and say it was a natural shooting motion.
Holding grudges.
That's the only reason why he's 6?
It's really hard to say beyond that why I would have done something like this. No, I'm high on Gordon Hayward. I think he comes back, and I think that...
So much that you put Kevin Love above Draymond Green? I'm so high on Gordon Hayward. Look, Kevin Love's a better player than both of them.
He opportunity.
Okay.
Kevin Love is a 1 on his team now. Kevin Love is the face of the Cavaliers. I know they took Colin Sexton. I know they have the highest hopes for him. But Kevin Love, we're going to see like Minnesota Kevin Love. We're going to see some fat Kevin Love out there. He's going to drop like 28 and 12 on the season. Easy. No problem. Like he's going to be back to being dominant, and I want to make sure he was accurately represented there. Gordon Hayward's a guy who I think coming off this injury, going to get right back to where he was. He's a workout warrior. He's going to be back. He's going to be putting up probably 22, 5 and 5. And I think that that's something that, yes, what Draymond can do, I think what this year, he did like 12, 7 and 7, which is freaking outrageous for him being a 4. But like, all respect to him, he's continually, like, his role has lessened on this team. And I think I want to represent that because KD has continued to get better, which is incredible because I didn't know he could.
Yeah.
And what he's done, what Klay Thompson's done, what Steph Curry's done. And now I look at this team and I go, and now they just added Boogie. So where does that leave Draymond Green? And that's why Draymond, I feel like his role is, I know Boogie is not playing yet, and obviously we will see when he comes back, but I think Boogie's going to be back, and I think Boogie's going to take away And again, Draymond's like the giving tree. He will continue to give until he's got nothing left to give.
Before I jump in, I want to go to you because you had Draymond 2 above Giannis. Dave spoke about opportunity for Kevin Love being above Draymond Green. Giannis obviously has way more opportunity than Draymond Green, but why did you end up putting Draymond Green above Giannis? Let me finish the question.
Sorry. It had nothing to do with opportunity. For me, it was easy. Giannis is going to score. He's going to have the better overall shooting percentage. But for me, it came down to, he shoots better. I was looking more from 2. They shoot almost the same. Well, that's
because he drives.
Similar from 3. Yeah. Exactly.
Draymond also shoots more threes than Giannis does.
Exactly. But the thing that really looked at it for me was when you look at the assist and the rebound numbers for Draymond, they are drastically for assists higher. Yeah, I'm going to say 7 to 4 is drastically higher to where I would say that with Draymond, the role that he plays on this championship team, he is more valuable to the Warriors than Giannis is to the Bucks.
Oh, no.
Because the reason why I say that is ever since they started this championship run, it's the only time he was not out there on the floor for them, they lost. No, I know why, but he wasn't on the floor, and they lost that finals. Every other finals, he's been out there for his team, and they've won the finals. Yes, they have all-star players around him, but the one time he was not there for the team, they lost.
I was going to defend you. Because I had Draymond right below you. But hold up.
They're close. It's not like they're far away.
Stop. T.O. I wasn't saying that you're wrong having Draymond above Giannis. You're wrong about I disagree with you that that Draymond's better than Giannis.
No, I more valuable.
That's where you're dead wrong. Because if Giannis isn't on Milwaukee, they aren't going to the playoffs.
The Atlanta Hawks.
They are the Atlanta Hawks. They are sniffing the playoffs. They aren't sniffing the 4th seed. They are nowhere near that. And they're not getting like Budenholzer away from the Hawks onto the Bucks.
Without Draymond Green, the Warriors are the Rockets.
That is. But also the Rockets.
That means
that they play the Rockets.
Yeah, it means they're not winning NBA Finals. Which in the end, one's not making the playoffs, but one isn't the greatest dynasty ever without Draymond. Because without Draymond, they never get Kevin Durant. I know this is totally different than what we're going into.
You take Draymond off the Warriors, the Warriors still have... You take Draymond Green off the Warriors, they still have a shot to win the title. And not only do they have a shot, they have a very high percentage to win the finals. The Bucks have no shot of making the playoffs without Giannis on their team.
I'll ask you this then.
Okay.
And I know this had nothing to do with why I put him 2, but it just popped into my head.
God.
If the Warriors never had Draymond Green, would they have been in the situation to win finals and get Kevin Durant?
I don't know. I don't care. This is about 2018, 2019. But what I'm KD's been on the fucking Warriors for 2 years.
Because, to me, it's more the debate of, when I say, he's more valuable, and you say, no, he's not. It's also like we say for the MVP. Is the MVP the most valuable to his team? Or is the MVP just the best
Then why didn't Draymond Green win the fucking MVP, the finals MVP for the past 2 years? Because if Draymond didn't recruit Kevin Durant, then they would have won the finals.
That's different. The MVP award is a popularity contest. And
this is also a popularity contest.
It is. But for me, I look at Draymond as a more valuable player to the Warriors than Giannis for the Bucks.
And this isn't my opinion. I think this is a fact. You're dead wrong about this.
Okay.
Again, Giannis, the Bucks are probably one of the worst teams if Giannis isn't on that team last year because they don't have a next level. They don't have a star on that team. They're going to Chris Middleton
and even with
night
Giannis,
in, night out to win the games.
They made the playoffs and got bumped by a Celtic team that didn't have Kyrie or Gordon Hayward.
What?
The Bucks, even with Giannis out there, they made the playoffs, but they still got bumped from the playoffs by a team without Kyrie and without Gordon Hayward.
Okay, that team also took LeBron James to 7 games. That team is also now the favorite in the Eastern Conference.
Oh.
And also, they still made the playoffs because of Giannis.
But
if they don't have Giannis, they don't make the playoffs. No, this is done.
No. First round Celtics were not the Celtics. We were not thinking about first round Celtics as the Celtics we were saying they were in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I think Giannis, plus minus wins to this team is about 20, to be fair. Draymond Green, I'll give you 5.
Well, it's
I'll
also
give you 5 games that they don't win because Draymond Green's not there.
But it's also
Giannis is 20.
Okay. Yes, Draymond has more talent around him. That is proven. It's not like I'm going to argue that.
Giannis has an 11 win share. Draymond Green has a 6. So, I mean,
I think that's even low for Giannis.
One is on the greatest team that we've possibly seen in NBA history.
Yes.
Arguably.
So
the other one is not.
And he's about to be the 5th best player on his own team.
And if you take, if you take off Draymond Green, their chances of winning a championship are hurt. But also, they have 3 Hall of Famers still in the team.
So
Giannis
we should punish Draymond for that. So we should say he's automatically...
We're talking about valuable. We're talking about valuable. Giannis is more valuable to his team. That is the point. If you take Giannis and put him on a team, if you put Draymond on the Bucks and Giannis on the Bucks, that Giannis team is winning more games than that Draymond-led team.
But
I understand, and this is where I was going. I'm going to get off this conversation because it's giving me an aneurysm. This was my point of why I put Draymond Green at 3. Draymond Green at 3 has more value to his team of winning games than a Kevin Love. Yes, Kevin Love might end up having a better stat sheet. He might end up putting up 25 and or not 25, but maybe 23 and 12. Again.
And the Cavs still might not make the playoffs.
And they might not make the playoffs. LaMarcus Aldridge is still a fantastic player, but also I don't think they have enough with LaMarcus Aldridge. I don't think LaMarcus Aldridge is a star.
This team into the playoffs.
But I don't think he's a star enough to help them win a championship. Giannis is a number 1. LaMarcus is a questionable number 1. Kevin Love is a questionable number 1. Giannis is not a question.
I'm not going to argue Giannis.
There's no question that Giannis is a number 1. Yeah. But the thing that separates Draymond, yes, he might not be a number 1, but he does add that value to that team. And again, yes, he might not be the best player on that team, but he's a leader. And you guys rank Dirk so high because of being a leader. Draymond, yes, he might be dirty in some aspects. But I think Draymond might be more valuable to this team than Clay. Because again, he moves that ball. He plays great defense. He provides a ton of switching. Yes, his defense was down last year, but I think Draymond brings so much to this team from a leadership standpoint. That again, he is worth that 3 spot because again, if he's not on that team, this team might not be winning 2 championships in a row and possibly a 3rd this year.
It's like, put it this way: who's their bigs? If you take Draymond off that team, name their bigs. It's like, okay.
Boogie and Zaza?
Well, no, I mean like before
Damon
they
Jones.
got Boogie. Like,
Damon?
Yeah, you could say Zaza, but we only know his name because he injured Kawhi Leonard.
I knew his name before. Dave West, yeah, he's only like 42 now.
But what I'm saying is they don't have that power forward center presence that Draymond brings behind him. He can,
I'll just
but
say
he
Kevin Durant
won't.
can play it. He can do it.
That's the thing is Draymond is not even the most valuable player on his team.
He's not even second best.
It's
doesn't mean Draymond's
KD.
a worse player though. Is what I'm saying.
No, he's a worse player than Giannis Antetokounmpo.
No, I'm
And
just
KD,
saying like
and
it's
Steph.
just because he's 5th best on his team doesn't mean it's like, oh, that's a huge nod.
No, but
for Draymond.
he's an elite role player. I think that's where I would put him and that's why you're talking about these ones, these guys who can lead a team to a championship, or at least into the playoffs, and that's why I think it's interesting that you guys don't have LaMarcus Aldridge that high because he took a team in the Spurs, a team that everybody's like, oh, just wait till Kawhi gets back. Just wait till Kawhi gets back. Guess what? He took a team to the playoffs that nobody had marked down as being a playoff team. And now this year, they get DeMar DeRozan. And people are like,
credit.
How are they going to get to the playoffs without Kawhi? They just fucking did it last year.
But but I give Pop more credit for that than LaMarcus.
Really? Because Pop's the one who misused him for his first couple of years there. And now that he played into LaMarcus' system, LaMarcus, A, has had one of the best comeback years of his career, and B, dragged that team into the playoffs.
No, and I agree. I think LaMarcus, again, he was a top 5 player in my rankings.
All credit to Pop, don't get me wrong, but he fucked up this situation in the first place.
Yeah, again, LaMarcus was fantastic last year. I'm not denying that, and I think LaMarcus again, he's ended up being 5, and I think that ends up being fair because again, Draymond is, again, an elite role player, and again, he adds so much to a championship level team, the best team we've ever seen. And
it's hard to quantify that with numbers.
Yeah, and again, if we're doing a fantasy draft, Draymond's not my number 1 pick. Yeah. I'm taking LeBron, clearly. I'm taking Giannis over him to start my team. I'm taking Kevin Love. I'm taking LaMarcus Aldridge. I'm taking Blake Griffin. I'm probably taking even Gordon Hayward to start my team. Yeah. But I think Draymond in his role is absolutely perfect. Where LaMarcus, again, I don't think he has enough help on his team, and I think it would probably be better off, again, being the second option on a team with a point guard, maybe like a John Wall, or at least a guy who can be a great distributor and score 20 points a game. Again, very similar to what was happening in Portland with Damian Lillard. I think, or maybe he should just play with Damian Lillard.
You realize the leader in assists last year for the Spurs was Paul Gasol, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot.
Again, I'm not trying to knock LaMarcus Aldridge, but they're also goes to a thing where like someone had to score the ball for the Spurs, and LaMarcus Aldridge again is by far the best player on that team.
He's got an incredible mid-range game.
He does. He's an incredible player. I'm not trying to knock that. And even his defense last year was phenomenal, and or not, maybe not phenomenal, but it was very good.
Yep.
Especially
that
for
I would
LaMarcus.
give credit to the system, but still, like it just turns into the discussion of, like you said, Draymond, elite role player. LaMarcus either is a 1 or a 1B kind of guy, you know, and that's where I look at it, and I'm just like, I can't put him above guys who can be dominant in games because we only see it out of him once every X games.
But I think it goes back to what Ricky was trying to say was, again, LaMarcus was fantastic, but people didn't look at it as LaMarcus was fantastic. It was the Spurs were resilient again.
And also for me, why I had him so low, I'll push Dirk out of this and just look at my top 6 for this is LaMarcus, like you said, Sean, phenomenal mid-range. But I look at where we are in the NBA right now, the mid-range is disappearing, and it's all about the 3-ball. The 3-ball is the main metric we look at.
And if LaMarcus, in a book or something?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't read many books. But I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge, where it's like, you're not a guy like Markkanen, like Hayward, like Love, like all the guys above that are going to give me a better shot from 3-point range than you.
That doesn't mean he's a worse player because he's not as an efficient 3-pointer as these players. He's also a more efficient player and more well-rounded than all of those players.
As this NBA...
Maybe not K-Love.
As this NBA continues to develop with the 3-ball, in a few years, does LaMarcus Aldridge... It's like, yeah, he's good in these other areas, but does he vanish in some way to where it's like, we can't have you out there because you don't give us what we want from the 4, where we want to stretch out a little more.
In a few years, he's going to be like 35. So that's probably a bigger reason why he will disappear or get worse is because of just his age and not really his play style. Because, again, his play style, yes, it's not for the modern-day NBA, but you can still find success in that play style, which he showed last year. I'm not really, discrediting him because he's not a guy who can, light it up from 3 and shoot, 38% from 3 on 5 attempts a game. But he is a guy that can be massively efficient at his game, and he's a guy that, again, is massively, important and elite. He might not be a guy that, again, is playing the correct way and playing the way of the NBA, but he is a guy that is very valuable to any team.
I'll use the same thing you said for Draymond. I'll say all the guys I have above him, I would take in a fantasy draft above LaMarcus Aldridge. If I was starting my team and you said you have to pick a power forward,
well, he's 32 years old.
Well,
so,
no,
he's not the top anybody's list.
I'm saying take age out of it, play style alone. I'll take the 7 guys I have above him.
So you're going to start your team with Dirk Nowitzki over LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yet again, with that one, I said take age out of it. Dirk, I'll put an asterisk by it. The definite 6 above him, I will take way before LaMarcus Aldridge.
I ain't got words to go into
I'm not taking Draymond. Why would you take Draymond above him?
Because for Draymond, he has more of a 3-point game, he is. If I'm at a power forward, I want a guy who can be. Draymond's a better role-mate. He's a better. I want to say better teammate too than LaMarcus Aldridge, to where he is going to be the glue for a team.
But also, he can't win you games. LaMarcus
Aldridge,
Draymond Green consistently, even though again he can shoot the 3, he can sometimes he can hit a couple threes, but also he has wide open threes because he has fucking Steph and KD and Klay Thompson on his team, and he's even with that he still shoots like 30% from 3. And all I remember from the NBA Finals this year is Draymond bricking threes like left and right. Like Draymond was not efficient throughout that NBA Finals shooting threes. I get it. He can make a 3 every now and then, but just having that ability makes him a more dangerous player. But I don't think he makes him more dangerous than LaMarcus Aldridge because LaMarcus Aldridge can still be guarded in that mid-range and still turn around and hit a jumper.
And also the thing I just want to throw out there too is like what Dave was saying. Oh, he was the number 1 for this team this year when they didn't have Kawhi. Yeah, he was the number 1 for this team, and the Spurs team was the 7th seed, and they were so close by like 1 game from being out of the playoffs.
And they were
where the
how many
Nuggets
games from the 4th seed?
Well, I get it. It's
how many games?
It was 2 games from the 4th seed.
Oh, okay. So we got 2 games to the 4th seed, but you're 1 away from being done.
Yeah, 1.
Like, holy shit,
1 is smaller than 2. You were closer to being out of the playoffs than you were the 4th seed. Yeah, I get it. The West is compact. I get it. The West is compact.
How close are the Bulls?
Stop. How close were they to the 5 seed, though?
How close were they to the 5 seed?
To the 5 seed.
They were 1. So, all right. The 5 is different. Yeah, you're the same difference. I get it. The West is compact.
It was a joke.
But if they had Kawhi Leonard, we wouldn't be having this conversation. They would be the 3 seed by a larger margin than 1 or 2 games behind the Blazers.
It was
he
a
can
joke.
do things Draymond can never do, and that's where I'm going to leave that. Like there's just that's what it is.
And also one thing too with Draymond again, his defense did get worse, and again he was a defensive player of the year at points, and we brought this up with OG. He was expending a lot of effort defensively because again he had Steph and Clay to fall back on. So
LaMarcus had, by the way, the same defensive rating as Draymond did this year at 105.
Yeah, but
I don't give a fuck.
Who's a better defender?
I don't.
Who are you picking?
Advanced metrics say. I ain't even going there.
But look prior. Throughout their career,
like
it's not even close.
DPPM's out of the world. But my point being is like he is a much better player than Draymond Green as a full player. What Draymond Green brings as a passer out of the low post and as a enforcer, as a guy to set the tone for your team, as a guy who's happy to use his technicals to make sure that games swing in the right direction. You guys don't get out of games early. Like there's something special about that you can asterisk that and say that is the special Draymond Green ability.
Yeah, he's the enforcer for the Warriors.
I will give you that, but don't tell me that he's a better basketball player than LaMarcus Aldridge.
Well, and again, that's the point I was trying to make. Again, if we're doing a fantasy draft, I'm picking LaMarcus Aldridge over Draymond Green to start my team. But again, when it comes to value, and I think that's what the biggest thing is this isn't about the most talented power forwards. It's how much value do you bring your team, and I think that's why Draymond ends up at 3. Because, again, without Kevin Love, the Cavs aren't a playoff team. With Kevin Love, they still might not be a playoff team. They're still going to win more games. LaMarcus, the Spurs without him, they're not going to be a playoff team. Them with LaMarcus, they're a playoff team. But Draymond...
Kevin Love, it's this year. This year's his LaMarcus year. Can he do it without the best player on his team is gone?
What I was
the best
just saying,
player on his team was at number 1, Kawhi would consider top 5. So I'm saying if Kevin Love can do it this year, would that not also be impressive?
No, it would be. But what I was just trying to say, though, is Draymond, again, value-wise, you take Draymond off the Warriors, they're
still a number 1 seed.
Yeah, they're the number 1 seed, but again,
2,
that value of winning a championship and doing a three-peat, I think shrinks a lot. Because, again, you're not going to, Boogie isn't a consistent, pillar of health. Neither is Steph anymore. Draymond at least will be out there, and that's so valuable to a championship team. But let's talk about K-Love a little bit because, again, you brought him up. He's going to be now the guy on the Cavs. He will have some help with Colin Sexton, the recent draft pick. I love K-Love. I had him above Draymond. I ended up flipping it just because I'm a little bitch. But I love K-Love. I have so much respect for him. I think he's a great player. Went from Minnesota to Cleveland, had to be put into a role and fit into a role.
And be the scapegoat.
Yeah, it didn't work out perfectly. Had his moment though to obviously guarding Steph and having that one possession to show his defensive abilities, and then Steph cooked him for the past 2 years whenever that happened. But again, I think K-Love has the ability and now time to shine. To have his LaMarcus Aldridge moment. Ricky, do you think he will have it in him this year?
No, I think he will. Like, K-Love, to me, it's interesting where this year I think he's going to play really well, and then next year we talk about him being traded because the Cavs will just have to trade him. But I don't think it'll be something where, LeBron is gone, K-Love's going to play worse. He's going to have more opportunities, his usage is going to go up, and he can now be the guy for this Cavalier team and be like, hey, I shouldn't have been the scapegoat last year. Or I shouldn't have been the scapegoat with LeBron.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I don't know how his quality of looks is going to be because without LeBron James out there and with your only other offensive weapon in either J.R. Smith or in
does he know how much time is on? Does he know how much time is on the clock?
I mean, that's always a question.
Where they are.
So I think the quality of looks goes down. I think that the entire play style of this Cavs team that we know right now is going to be different. I mean, obviously, we still haven't even seen the signing of Rodney Hood. So if he doesn't come back, where are they going to be at? Like, there's so many question marks on this team, and that's why I default to he's probably going to be he's going to lose efficiency. He's going to. I mean, he's still one of the best
for sure.
Best rebounding fours in the league, like bar none. He has that down. That's always been the corner he can always go back and rest on, but. Yeah, the 3-point shots is going to go down. His volume of touches is going to go up, but quality way down. So I don't know. I think he's going to be an inefficient 24 and 10 guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be enough. I really don't.
It's honestly going to end up more than 10 rebounds because, again, you're taking away LeBron's, 7 or 8 or 9.
True.
And I think you're 100% right about the quality of looks. That's what I was going to bring up. He shot, last year he was a 45, 41, and 88 guy.
Incredible.
That's not happening this year. Is he still a great shooter? Yes, but he's not going to have LeBron James looks anymore. But I think one thing that Kevin Love will still be able to do is I think his game will change where, again, he will be more posting up more than rather in the corner, which will then be able to, if he's going up against a slower defender, drag his guy out and then attack more. I think we're going to see Kevin Love with the ball in his hands more.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned.
I think it's going to be interesting, though, because you look back at his last time in Minnesota, which is arguably his best year, shot 45% from the field, 37% from three, 82% from the line, 12 boards a game, 4.4 assists per game.
But 2.5 turnovers?
2.5 turnovers. But also, that was his now time to at least take over.
Yeah.
You still had Ricky Rubio, also 26 points per game. But you look at that team that was around him. Again, it wasn't a hit list out there. He had Corey Brewer as out there.
He was a 50-point scorer.
He had Kevin Martin, who was still a very efficient shooter at the time. He had Ricky Rubio, who was a great ball handler. He had JJ Barea. I think the biggest thing with that, though, is, again, he had Ricky Rubio, a young Rubio, and JJ Barea, two guys that were natural point guards. I don't think he has that to really set him up, and that pick and pop might not be there. And maybe it will be. Maybe Colin Sexton will be able to show a little bit of his place down ability. Maybe George Hill will be able to show that a little bit. But I think a lot of Kevin Love's success will be dependent on other players outside of LaMarcus Aldridge, where LaMarcus Aldridge really didn't need those other players to succeed.
Yeah.
But if Kevin Love has those opportunities, I think that's why I put Kevin Love above LaMarcus Aldridge, because if I think Colin Sexton will end up being who he is, I think Kevin Love will benefit massively from that and be the fourth best power forward in the NBA this year.
I mean, for me, the biggest question just goes back to I know I'm the one who made the comparison, but you look at the systems in place, you look at the coaching staff, and I go, well, Ty Lue has been known to have some questionable rotations, questionable lineups. I don't know if he knows how to run an offense without LeBron James. Now that they have a rookie going to run point, I mean, George Hill, yes, is going to be the veteran, but we'll see what happens. I don't know what their offense is going to look like. I don't know where he's going to be posting up. If him ISO, LaMarcus Aldridge is by far a better ISO player than he is at this point in their career. So I've got so many question marks. I'm hesitant that I've even put him this high, but he's going to get the touches. He's going to get the chances no matter what.
But then again, Kevin Love now might, again, the last time he was able to really do ISO play was
Kevin Love.
25 years old. And now he's, again, this has been 4 years. He's now hitting 30. Maybe he has now developed an ISO game that we just haven't been able to see.
I'd be impressed.
So there's a lot. I think there's a lot of question marks still with Kevin Love, weirdly enough, at 30.
Yeah.
But guys, we haven't talked about the guy that just left the Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron James. We haven't talked much about Giannis solo-wise.
Do we have to?
Well, no. I'm going down the. Can you guys let me fucking host a show for once? We haven't talked much about LeBron James. We talked a little bit about Giannis, against Draymond Green, but not really much about Giannis. Gordon Hayward really haven't gone too much in depth about. Blake Griffin, Aaron Gordon, Markkanen, and Paul Millsap. Pick a player, talk about him. Ricky, I'll go to you first.
Dave, do you know who I'm going to pick? Can you take a wild guess? Lauri Markkanen. He is the guy where Lauri Markkanen. I am so excited. Lauri, whatever. I'm going to say it wrong. It'll probably be wrong, and I'll be corrected. Markkanen. I am excited for what he is going. I wasn't too high coming out when we drafted him. All right, mainly because I watched the tournament along with you, and maybe you influenced me because you didn't like how Arizona used him.
I was the highest on him going into it.
But how Arizona used him in the tournament, you weren't very high.
Exactly. That's because they played him play like Derek Favors.
Exactly.
That is not how Lauri Markkanen plays.
I cannot wait to see him grow in this team with the excitement that everyone else has about Zach and Jabari, where I'm a little bit on the pessimistic side, and I'll wait to be proven wrong there. But adding Wendell Carter next to him, I can't wait to see him grow in his sophomore year.
I feel like you're crowning his ass.
Some might say he's too high for just a sophomore player in our rankings.
I will say that. I had him at 13. Again, I think that's still fucking high for a sophomore, but I mean, he was efficient as fuck last year. I can't deny it, and he was a guy that, again, was horrible defensively, but again, offensively, he was
wasn't
extremely impressive.
The Bulls as a whole were horrible.
We don't play defense.
He impressed me with his toughness. Honestly, he impressed me with his toughness, especially around the rim. I did not expect him to be as good as a rim protector as I saw.
That game when he went against KP.
The biggest detriment to him was honestly like the logjam with Nico, and then they forgot how to use him in offense. Like there'd be games where he'd come out and nail 2 shots in the first, and you wouldn't hear his name called till the third. You're like, hey, I thought he was 2 for 2, and now all of a sudden like he finally gets a touch again. It's the third quarter. Like this team had horrible play calling at times. Because I don't know if they're trying to showcase certain players as trade bait or whatever the scenario was, but his usage was so unsteady throughout the year.
We're also
I don't think he hit a groove.
Yeah, we're trying to tank.
Well,
it was not hitting the groove.
I also think that's going to be a massive problem this year with the Bulls as well. Because
we're winning games.
You have Jabari Parker, who's supposed to be a 20-point scorer. You have Zach LaVine, who's supposed to be a 20-point scorer. You have Markkanen, who's supposed to grow into a 20-point scorer.
Who's just 60 points right there.
Who's distributing the ball? No, but who's getting the ball to him? Who's able to at least
the real KD?
No, but I'm saying
and campaign.
I'm saying though, will these guys who are naturally trying to prove themselves as go-to scorers and prove their contracts be able to put that aside and play team basketball?
Is there room for 3 alphas?
If Kevin Durant, I thought about the real KD.
If
Chris Dunn again is trying to work in the offense, pass it off to Zach LaVine, will Zach LaVine be able to put away that $78 million contract and pass the ball to the open player? I think that's going to be a major struggle.
Spoilers, he won't.
I think that's going to be a major.
Chuck it.
No, I think that's going to be a major struggle for all 3 of those players. I think that's going to be something that really is going to affect Markkanen because you might not have you might have those games again. Yeah. Although those trade bait players are gone and you're not trying to tank, you might have those games where Markkanen hits a couple shots, but then again you're trying to get yours, and LaVine and Jabari take over because again Markkanen isn't great in an ISO because he's a power forward. He needs the ball
so high too.
Yeah, he needs the ball passed out to him. He needs guys to create a little bit of space for him to work. And I don't think Jabari Parker. I've watched a decent amount of Jabari. I've watched a decent amount of Jabari Parker film. I don't see him as a point forward. I don't really see him distributing the basketball. Zach LaVine, I really don't see him distributing the basketball as much as as I think it's necessary for Markkanen to grow. Is Markkanen a talented player? Yes. Does he have a bright future? Yes. Do I think this Bulls starting lineup is a fucking mess? Yes. And I think it's going to be tough for him to really grow out of that because of the position he plays.
The thing I will say is the one man in the NBA I do not envy is Fred Hoiberg because he's got to learn how to make it all work in Chicago, and that's why I am lower than I should be being a Bulls fan and why Bulls fans hate me for it.
Well, I think there's a thing where there's a lot of talent on the team, but that doesn't mean you're going to be good. You can have a lot of talent.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have a lot of talent. They're not good.
Yeah, they made the playoffs. The Bulls fans will be happy with an 8 seed.
We're a rehab story right now. We got 2 players coming off knee injuries, and we're just like, there are stars. There are pieces of the future right there.
And one could have been a king too.
Which I think is stupid because I think the stars are again Markkanen and Wendell Carter Jr.
Wendell Carter, yeah.
And I think I'm pretty safe in saying that Wendell Carter Jr. is a future star.
Yeah.
Because that guy can do anything.
Let's see his rookie year first.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he'll be good, but I don't want to crown his ass.
But you're crowning Markkanen.
Yeah,
but I've seen him play in the NBA.
You literally put LaMarcus below.
I just think that again, Markkanen, he might struggle because of the team he's playing on, not because of the player he is.
Yeah.
But Dave, pick a guy we haven't talked about and talk about him.
Top 10, I'm going with Aaron Gordon.
I knew it.
He is the guy. I was between him and Blake. And Blake, I'm sorry, him and Andre Drummond, it's just, I don't know what the Pistons are going to do this year. So I'm going
I don't think it's a bad pairing, though. And I think Dwayne Casey is going to be interesting with him.
We'll see how that works out.
The biggest thing for Blake is
weight up there.
The biggest thing for Blake is health.
Yeah,
Blake is still an extremely talented player.
He's a unique player, gifted athletically, and that's why I'm taking the younger version of him in Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon is on a team that is apparently you have to be this tall or this long to get in, which is just awesome. I love the Magic. I know we talk about them having 12 starters, but all memes aside, he's a very good player. He's a good scorer. He started off this year being a 3-point fiend, absolutely drilling it from the outside for the first couple weeks. Obviously, came down to reality, but at the same time, he's still getting better, and that's the thing. I look to him to continue to improve. They still need a point guard out there, but he's going to get some help from other guys on this team. I think we talked last week about Jonathan Isaac continuing his growth and being a big contributor out there. I think we're going to see a good deal of other guys actually starting to step up and develop as players, something we haven't seen in this Magic organization too often as of late.
Yeah, I love Aaron Gordon. He's still a young player. He's got a lot of room to grow. Again, I think he's going to be held back more by his team, though. He's extremely talented, and there's always been trade rumors, too, of him possibly moving. I'd be extremely... I know it might suck for Orlando Magic fans, but I'd be extremely excited to see him in a different uniform because I really want to see him get his own shot.
There
because
and Terry Rozier for Aaron Gordon straight up.
Would that work? With that, he's probably not in the starting lineup.
Or would he be?
Who you put on the bench?
I don't know.
Jaylen
Brown, probably.
Pissing off Celtics fans.
You piss them off no matter what you say about them. Yeah.
A lot of comments, though, saying, thank God you're finally respecting us. We've never disrespected you guys. But the guy I want to talk about is Blake Griffin. And in Detroit, he put up a stat line that I think is absolutely ridiculous. 19, 6, and 6. And he also 6 assists with 2.6 turnovers. I think that's something that Blake Griffin, I think it's got to be explored a little bit more.
So why is he so much lower than your boy Draymond Green then, who put up 11, 7, and 7?
Because Blake Griffin is not winning championships. Because Blake Griffin isn't on the best team of all time.
He doesn't have 3 players better than him on his own team?
No, but
but he's somehow worse than the man who put up worse numbers than him.
Okay, but it's not about a numbers game, Dave. It's too late for this shit. But I think Blake is a guy again that's just. It's going to be interesting to see how he fits with Dwayne Casey and how a full season with Andre Drummond is going to work out. Final thoughts: Paul Millsap still underrated. He was hurt. He's going to be the only player that can play defense on that Nuggets team. Gordon Hayward, hopefully he is healthy, but he's on the Celtics. He's with Brad Stevens. He's going to be fantastic. He's a talented player. He's going to fit into that role. It's not shocking. I don't think anyone's going to be surprised when Gordon Hayward's a fantastic player. And then finally, Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James. Anything about Giannis that you want to see this year from the young kid?
We all want him to make the jump and turn into the next, but I don't know if the team is there. What he needs to do is make a statement in the playoffs. So obviously, Ricky, you talked about he lost against the Celtics team. If he can make a statement in this upcoming year, I know the weak East. I'm just getting out of the way for you. Ricky. The weak East. He needs to take command and drag this Bucks team to a 3 seed. If he can do that, I think everybody will be impressed. If he can win a playoff series and take this team to the next level, because we're all looking at this and going, outside of the Raptors and the Celtics, I know Jake and the Sixers.
I was going to say the Sixers, don't count them out.
Honestly, this is a team where we expect them to make the next step, and we'll see if he can do that. He's right there.
I agree. If he's a 6, 7, or 8 seed again, it's going to be like, really?
But even then, Jesus, that was a bad voice crack. Even then, I still look at Giannis, and I agree that he needs to have that coming out party. But
he keeps getting better.
He was so good last year in the playoffs. Again, I get it.
Chris Middleton was insane as well, to be fair, too.
Yeah,
give the boy credit.
Even I get it. The Celtics weren't the Celtics when they played the Cavs, but still, he took the Celtics to 7 games. He averaged 25, 9, 6, a steal and a half a game, and a block a game, and shot 57% from the field. I get it. He still can't shoot, but
he crosses the court in 4 steps.
I think if he starts to win more, that means there's just going to be more eyes on him in Milwaukee, and I think Budenholzer is at least going to be the right coach to at least direct them to more wins. I don't know if it's going to come out and really flourish, but a big thing that everyone's wanted to see is him take over that point forward role, and during the playoffs, he seemed to be more comfortable in that role. And throughout this season, he seemed to be more comfortable in that role. And I think that's something that Buck really needs to pull out of him because it's there. But he needs to just be more careful with the ball, which he was in the playoffs.
Yep.
And I think that's something that, again, it's going to come with time, and he's going to be turning 24 this year.
It's insane.
If he's able to, again, take those turnovers down, become more of a playmaker for his teammates, this is going to be a team that wins and possibly could shock people this year.
I'll be honest. The highest I see them at this point is a 5 seed because I don't think, like Dave mentioned, Raptors and Celtics are up there. I don't think at this point Giannis and the Bucks are going to overtake the 76ers or the Indiana Pacers.
I think the highest I see him is 3.
I could see him go 3.
The Celtics, the 76ers are still very young, and they needed that 15-game win streak to get to where they were last year. So, there's still going to be some growing pains. I think that, again, they're going to be a top 5 team for sure, the 76ers, but where the Bucks, Pacers, and 76ers end up, I think it's just going to have to play out during the season. Even then, maybe the Celtics deal with more injuries and they fall out of the top 1 seed. I mean, we've consistently seen the Cavs take seasons off where they're not the number 1 seed. Yeah. And finally, we mentioned the Cavs, so let's mentioned the kid from Akron, Ohio. LeBron James, by a landslide, number one power forward. Also, probably by a landslide, the best player in the NBA. Any thoughts about LeBron in LA?
No, I mean, any position we put him on these rankings is going to be number one. So, I mean, it's hard to say, like, oh, shocker, LeBron's number one.
Could he play center?
I say, like, we might see him at center this year.
He joked, and there was a picture of, like, him with huge arms, and it's like, hey, man, Luke told me I'm going to be playing more at the 5 this year.
Yeah, he ain't going to body up nobody. Like, he's not going to play defense at the 5. He gets too beat up. That's just it's fun to think about that.
How do you think he'll be defensively at the 4, though?
He'll be okay. Like, he's still big, and the 4s are slower than the 3s, so it's honestly in his favor. Like, he is built like a brick shithouse, so he's still strong for his size. So I think he's fine at the 4.
Well, the big thing that I think people bring up is, again, his defense has fallen off, and he's not the LeBron from Miami. Do you think it's an effort thing, or do you think it's an age thing? I think it's effort.
Like, athletically, I think last year he was in the best shape of his life. He's reverse aging. It's bizarre, and I don't know. I don't want to get into the discussion tonight, but I think steroids or anabolic something in the NBA is something that nobody wants to talk about, but everybody knows is going on. People using supplements to make sure they're in the best shape of their lives, coming back from injuries quicker than ever, rehabbing quicker than ever. I think it's something that we'll probably see in the next 5 years come out as a huge story, and the NBA is doing their best to make it a not story.
I just think it's intelligence. In Miami, we never looked at LeBron as like he is taking more games off and doing this. It was LeBron's out there every night, and holy crap, he cramped in the playoffs. Like, that's what the image of LeBron, where now it's just an intelligence of like, hey, I'm not going to push myself 110% for a regular season. It doesn't matter. I'll save that to the playoffs.
That's an extremely interesting point that you brought up, though, about steroids and anabolic steroids, because I never really gave that much thought.
Is it steroids, or just that science and medicine and everything is just
everything's
getting
progressed,
better?
but at the same time, with baseball, you see a lot of things that
directly affects the numbers because of home runs.
Like, what's his name? Ryan Braun. Like, coming back, his performance. I look at Kobe going to Germany a couple of times to have some things fixed. You start to wonder about what medicine's taking, what medicine is legal or not legal in the NBA, and why isn't it? And that's the thing where I'm like, is the NBA like? I think Adam Silver's going to the point where he's like, why am I punishing players for things that shouldn't matter, that I shouldn't hold against them? And I think that maybe this is him quietly handling things where people aren't asking questions because he's not enforcing rules. Like, how many people are drug tested in the NBA? Yeah. And what are they actually tested for? Like, I think it's one of the most interesting things where they're so on one side of it. Well, football, you see punters get tested when they make a tackle.
Well, I mean,
the only drug thing that I can really think of when it comes to the NBA is like OJ Mayo getting kicked out.
Yeah, well, OJ Mayo had a lot of recreational drugs.
That's the only the thing I can think of. Because, I mean, everyone knows that
everyone smokes weed.
Yeah, everyone smokes weed. Yep. So I mean, like, drug tests aren't a big thing, but also I don't think anyone gives a shit.
It's just a different culture than the other sports.
In football and baseball, there are metrics, and metrics is a bad word, but there are, in baseball, I hit a baseball, I show you my strength. In football, most of the time it's I'm tackling you, I show my strength. Whereas the NBA, there's not as much contact to where you're not looking at like, man, that guy is weirdly strong.
Football, I agree, because again, you're putting people's lives in danger. Yeah. Baseball, I don't give a shit about.
I'm just saying, like, it's easier to see that someone's taking it because there is something that you can tangibly see with strength.
But with steroids, with baseball, I mean, again, you need to have that hand-eye coordination to hit a baseball in general.
Barry Bonds is the greatest hitter before he even started taking steroids.
The only player, and then they started going out of the park.
Yeah. Well, then they started.
They were still going out of the park. He was still on pace to be the greatest home run hitter of all time.
But his recovery time was incredible. He had no downtime. He had no issues with injuries. And I think that's the thing. Like, you think steroids, you think Barry Bonds, Jason Giambi, just
Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire,
rip shit dudes, but it's not that anymore.
But also too, I mean, let's think of the sports. Baseball, you're not running around as much as you are. You're not running up and down.
The cardio.
You're not. I mean, look at LeBron James. fucking ripped, shredded at 33 years old.
I can't wait for the comment section on this.
Barry Bonds looked absolutely bloated. I mean, we're not saying that LeBron James is using steroids.
No, that's what I'm saying. Comments are going to be.
We're not saying anything. I'm saying the discussion is not being had, probably for the right reasons, because the NBA wants to have a better product out there, and at the end of the day, does letting players have medical advantages that are out there hurt the game in any way? And I don't think it really does. I think the more uptime, the more you see of the players, the more games they're able to play to their fullest is better for them. It's better for the league. It's better for the advertisers. It's better for everyone.
It's like you said, and I'm going to bring baseball into it because, Sean, like you said, football's a whole safety thing.
I totally agree.
Like with baseball in the steroid era, did fans really care? No, let them take steroids. I like home runs. Like, if this is going to mean LeBron James can play more,
they also didn't know. That's the thing, is fans didn't know that. I mean,
I was having a good time watching baseball during the steroid era.
I was 4 years old when Barry Bonds was hitting 73 home runs.
But I mean, I was correcting him, like Bartolo Colon. Like, he was 37. He's like, I'm just going to go take a year, take a shit ton of steroids, get jacked up again, and come back and pitch until I'm 41.
I mean,
it was just like, what the...
I saw a clip recently of like Canseco on the A's, and it's like, holy crap, his sleeve is like.
But like, that's what it is.
And again, I wasn't around back then, so I don't know what fan knowledge of steroids was back then. I think obviously people popped every now and then, but again, you don't see people.
Wonder.
You don't see people popping in the NBA.
True.
That's the thing, is I think.
I mean, Dwight Howard's arms was about the biggest show, and those were legit.
But he was also
those were legit.
We all know it. Joked like that when he was 19. But yeah, I mean. Like, again,
it's not going to help anyone in the NBA to be jacked like that, because you can't, like you said, it's the cardio game. You can't stand there and be like 4 feet wide in the NBA. It just doesn't do you any advantage.
And again, that's the thing, is what would you rather have? And this is a hypothetical. LeBron James isn't taking steroids, so we at least to our analogies on.
Asterisk.
But at least with LeBron, though, it's like, what would you rather have? LeBron taking steroids and play 82 games in a year and be out in the court and have a great product, or have LeBron hurt at 34 and the product dipped down?
The fact he's never been hurt is a miracle. The fact that he's taken such good care of his health as he's continued to age, he's one of the smartest guys around for a reason. Like, he's going to continue getting better, building his brand, and just, I think the LA move was just the next thing. That's why he's there.
And welcome into the new installation of InfoWars
here on
InfoWars here on YouTube. Alex Jones is back in the form of Dave Oster here on YouTube.
The water. No,
it's the lizard people.
LeBron James moved to LA because of the water. Because he's anabolic steroids in the water. That's the reason why there's so many wildfires out in California, because they're just putting water.
Drinking all the water.
They're just putting water with steroids onto the fires and making super fires. Hope you have a great night, everybody.
I'll also be honest. Ever since he mentioned Dwight Howard, I've been thinking of the John Oliver joke where he's like, your kid will go to school, trade his lunch, and he'll come back with Dwight Howard.
There's a joke to be made after that he clearly did not make.
Yeah. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up here on the Fast Break Podcast. I want to thank Dave Oster for joining me as always. I want to thank Ricky Widmer for joining me as always. And also I want to thank you for listening, watching, taking us in any possible way that you did. We appreciate it. If you want to support us, check out patreon.com/MostValuablePodcast. If you want to not miss out on any of the content we post, check out mostvaluablepodcast.com. If you want to buy a t-shirt, check out mostvaluablepodcast.com. Click on the button for the store. And also, if you like this episode, please rate it 5 stars on iTunes.
Well, and the thing I want to throw out, I can't remember what commenter it is, but we got an answer to your question of favorite two-way player. Someone said Rudy Fernandez. So it means they listened to the entire...
I think I put it.
He mentioned. I think he tossed out Rudy.
No, but there was a commenter that time-stamped the question and said Rudy Fernandez.
Oh, there you go.
Shout out. I think because I mentioned Rudy Fernandez earlier.
I know. That's what I thought.
Jason Tatum
clicked on the timestamp, and it was the question.
Offensive
and
rating
said Rudy
and defensive
Fernandez.
rating. Well, shout out Rudy Fernandez for the second straight week in a row. And shout out to the commenter. But anyways, that's going to do it for the Fast Break Podcast. For Dave Oster, Ricky Widmer, I'm Sean Anderson. We'll see you next time.